The Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association and your local cable provider presents Cable Reports. Join us now as Cable Reports brings you up to date on current issues facing the Commonwealth through discussions with your local legislators and other policymakers from across Virginia.
Welcome to a special edition of Cable Reports, brought to you by the Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association, connecting Virginians to their government. We're so pleased to have Secretary of the Commonwealth, Levar Stoney, with us today. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, Woody.
Now, I know the Code of Virginia says your office is the official keeper of the official documents of the Commonwealth. We know your office does much more than that, however.
Yeah, that's what they say I do. There's a whole host of other duties that I'm responsible for. Number one, I guess I'm most popular for is the governor's appointment powers. While in office, the governor will appoint nearly 4,000 individuals to boards and commissions.
That many?
That's a lot of people, right? We're about 2 years through, so we've appointed nearly 2,000 individuals. We'll appoint another 2,000 by the time the governor ends his term of office. Additionally, I'm also responsible for the governor's clemency powers as well. When the person wants to get a pardon, and they're already currently incarcerated, or a simple pardon when a person has already served their time, they petition the governor for a pardon. That goes through our office. Also, the restoration of one's civil and voting rights. We have restored the rights to more than 16,000 individuals thus far.
16,000.
These are people who've been convicted of a felony, and they have to petition the governor to get the right to vote back. Now, we are of the mindset that this should be an automatic process, but we've made some reforms while in office to actually streamline and expedite the process for those folks who want to become returning citizens. I'm also responsible for the authentication of documents, those that are used overseas, the registration of notary publics, the registration of lobbyists. I'm the ambassador to Virginia Indian tribes, the keeper of the Great Seal of the Commonwealth of Virginia, service of process as well. So I deal with a lot of attorneys, and that may be it. But it's in the code. It's one of those roles that is all duties as assigned by the governor, and I enjoy my job. It has been very, very rewarding, particularly on the restoration rights front. I am a son of a guy who was a former felon, and to actually help pay it forward, basically, give those folks an opportunity, really, really, really rewarding for me. It really is.
So you're responsible for finding the best and the brightest to populate these boards and commissions.
Oh, yes, that's a task in its own self right there. We have to go out, and sometimes I do a lot of speaking engagements. I do a lot of seeking advice from other people's networks in order to populate some of these boards. And the boards can be very, very, they'd be very difficult to find the right candidate for each of the boards. For instance, the Hearing Aid Operators Board, an Opticians Board. I mean, that is trying to find a person for that board. It can be very, very difficult. But we use the Governor's Network, the Network of the General Assembly, different organizations throughout the Commonwealth to actually help us find the most talented and brightest individuals to fill these vacancies.
Now, I've heard of another document called the Blue Book. What is the Blue Book?
The Blue Book goes through and lists every, basically, individual in state government and the functions of state government. We don't have it hard copy any longer. Gone are the days that you get a blue-bound book. Now you get it's on our website, I think. That's where you will find it. And it just lists every appointment the governor has made that year, the members of his cabinet, the functions of each of the cabinet secretaries and agencies. I have many of those books in our office from way back in the 60s and 50s. It's just a very, very historic document to look at, and it's cool to find your name in it as well.
So what's the difference between a board and a commission?
There's really not a difference. What is the difference? The differences lie in the fact that there are policy-making boards, those who promulgate policy. There are supervisory boards, those who supervise state agencies. They'll probably choose the executive director or the commissioner of an agency. Then we have liaison boards, those boards where you're just a public liaison between the public and the agency. And so that's kind of, those are the differences right there, really. there's no difference between a board and commission. It's just all about what agency you are part of. And so we have the board, the Commonwealth Transportation Board, but we
Right.
also have the Council on Women. Nothing is different. It's just a difference in title.
Now, some of these boards or commissions have rulemaking authority, do they not?
This is very true. I tell folks, if you never want to run for office, which is not a desirable role that people seek out, many people seek out, there's always ways to serve your government. And boards and commissions are one of those ways. And even though the governor, even though we have 140 members of the General Assembly, there are 4,000 individuals who also help with rulemaking, policy making, and being a liaison to the public. You can have just as much impact on your region, on your locality, by joining a board or commission as serving an elected office. But I will tell you this, it's very, very competitive. If you want to be on the Board of Visitors at William & Mary or UVA, or on the Commonwealth Transportation Board, or the Board of Medicine, or the Board of Health, these are very, very competitive positions. And we do, I think, a really, really decent job at looking at all the qualifications of each individual and going off of their qualifications to actually select them for that role. It's not easy. I have a resume on my desk, 12, 10, 15 times a day. And we are very thorough in researching the individual, their background, and seeing whether or not they're really qualified to serve on that board or commission.
Now, the Board of Health over the past few years has been in the news in relation to its rulemaking authority, has it not?
This is very true. It has been in the news, particularly, I guess, for the last 4 or 5 years. When the governor got in office, he wanted to make a couple of changes to fit in line with the way he thinks about health care, and we've made those changes, and I think we've kind of taken the temperature down on the issues, particularly on women's health care. We've taken the temperature down. I think we have a board now that is cognizant of the women who live and reside here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and making this an open and welcoming place for them. And the governor, when he was running for office, talked about the closing of these 18 women's health centers. And none of those health centers have closed under the governor's watch. And we're very, very proud of that. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that the Commonwealth of Virginia is an open and welcoming place, particularly for women, who make up more than half of Virginia's population.
Now, but many of these boards and commissions require a certain level of expertise, do they not?
This is correct. Many of the boards and commissions have a desired skill set that's laid out in the code. For instance, if you are an auto dealer, sometimes they need to be an independent auto. If you want to be in a motor vehicle dealer board, they ask for independent auto dealers, or franchise auto dealers. So it's a very I can give many other examples. And if it's the wine board, you need a wine grower, or then you need a person as a citizen. But let's get to the citizen part here. You can be a John Q, Susie Q, who is just a citizen who just wants to lend their voice. As long as you have no conflicts with the industry that you're actually on the board for, there's a good chance you could possibly sit as a citizen member of that board or commission.
So generally speaking, there are lay positions on most of these boards and commissions.
Very much so, very much so. And here's the thing, we desire people who are just regular Joe Schmoes who just want to lend their voice to whether it's an agricultural board, a health and human resources board, or an education board. At the end of the day, we need real Virginia's voices represented on our boards and commissions.
Talk to us about the Council on Women. You mentioned it earlier, and the importance and significance of that entity.
Oh yes, the Council on Women is a board that actually falls under the Secretary of Commonwealth's office. We are the administrator for the board. In my office, former delegate Captain Waddell is my point person on all things Council on Women. These are women from all walks of life, different fields of professional background, who are coming together to find to create a Virginia that's welcoming for women. So whether it's in healthcare or in policy in general, they are working to better the lives of Virginia women here in the Commonwealth. And we have, I will say this, Woody, it is the most popular board in this administration. We've had hundreds hundreds of individuals who apply for the board, which makes the whole process very competitive. And that's what you want. You want competition so we can get the best of the best. And I think you have people from different ethnicities, people from different professional backgrounds, people from different parts of the Commonwealth represented on that board. I've been to a few. I sit ex officio to the board. So it is, it is eye-opening to hear all the different perspectives that you get from gathering a good amount of women from all across the state.
So what are some of the least known but more interesting boards or commissions that you can think of?
Well, I think some people are always blown away that we have a milk commission, but we have a milk commissioner as well. People don't know that, but we have a milk commission. I've actually had some pickup in interest in the milk commission this year. We have a bunch of agricultural boards, whether it's the Irish potato board or the chicken board, the beef board. These serve as basically somewhat like associations in the Commonwealth of Virginia compared to what you would find in a place like Iowa or Kansas or somewhere in the Midwest. But they have their usefulness in our system. But also, I think we should take a look at adding more boards and commissions that reflect, a 21st century new Virginia economy, whether it's cyber communication or technology related. I think we should take a look at going in that direction. A lot of the boards are mostly agricultural boards, and I think that represents an agrarian past of Virginia, a rural agrarian past of Virginia. And I think if you look at Virginia now, I think we're moving into those new sectors, whether it's bioscience or it's cybersecurity, and we should probably have boards to help govern that.
There are still women who deliver babies at home, are there not?
That's right. We have a midwifery board as well. I tell you, that's a hard board to find people for sometimes. I can't say I have a lot of midwives in my network of people that I know, but it's also a decently popular board, and there's an auctioneers board as well that people don't know about as well, and a charitable gaming board. I'm always amazed by the different boards and commissions we have, but the people who are on those boards are so dedicated and devoted to the causes that they're working for, whether it's the James Monroe board or the Mount Vernon board. People, they desire to be on these boards, and they give it their all. And that's one of our biggest requests, Woody, is that these boards and commissions, these aren't gimmies right here. Mm-hmm. We're asking for people to work hard and be dedicated and devoted to the cause that they're a part of, and we're asking you to show up. Normally there are 4 meetings a year, quarterly. A lot of times they meet right here in Richmond, so you do have to make some effort to get out here. If you live out in Russell County or Lee County, those are 6-hour drives to the Commonwealth of Virginia, to the capital of the Commonwealth of Virginia here in Richmond. So it takes some dedication. But we don't want this to be a social club either. We want you to actually lend your voice to whoever you are representing. And we ask our folks to be engaged, ask questions. We don't need you to run the agency, but we need you to actually lend your voice and ask the right questions on behalf of the constituency that you're working on behalf.
Now, you mentioned travel. Are people compensated for the expense of travel?
Yeah, we do have a reimbursement for your travel. People always ask, so do I get paid for this? And there are a few boards that do pay. It's the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission that pays. The Parole Board pays as well. But beyond really that, these are not paid positions. And you will have to make that drive, but we'll reimburse you for that drive normally. And sometimes we'll actually feed you lunch.
Now, how do these boards and commissions contribute to the new Virginia economy that you mentioned?
Well, we have been looking to add, as I said, different people from different backgrounds, whether it's, people who are from the business world or from the education world. The governor has talked about a new Virginia economy, one that is not dependent on defense dollars or federal dollars. And the governor has brought in more than $10 billion with a B in capital investment. And we have the lowest unemployment rate in the Southeast region, and more people are working in the Commonwealth of Virginia today than they have in the whole history of the Commonwealth. And unemployment claims are down for the last 41 years as well. I say that because some of the boards and commissions are involved, as you said, in rulemaking and policymaking. So whether or not it's making it easier for small businesses to create businesses here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, or if it's for our Commonwealth Transportation Board, building a transportation network that will lend itself to building that new Virginia economy that will help with economic development. We're looking at every way we can, using every tool in the toolbox, which means our boards and commissions, to help move that mission along. And I think the governor has appointed individuals who are like-minded like him, who are people who are pro-business, who believe that Virginia can be better than what it is currently and take Virginia to that next level. And I think you will find a lot of those individuals on our boards and commissions, and they've contributed to creating a new Virginia economy. It's something that we're very, very proud of.
And I'm sure you're supportive of the effort called Go Virginia as well.
Oh, yes, we are. Regionalism is always been the top of the priority list for the governor. And to see that there are business leaders, community leaders coming together all throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia, whether it's Hampton Roads, the Richmond region, Southwest Virginia, or the Valley, or Northern Virginia, coming together to talk about how we can better use our resources to contribute to economic development and to the livelihoods of those who live in their region, I think that's a good thing. That's good for Virginia.
Now, I think we've got almost 800,000 veterans in the Commonwealth. I assume there are boards and commissions that they populate as well.
Yeah, we have Veterans Services Board, the joint organization, Veterans Organization, the Board Military and Veterans Organization we have as well, the War Memorial Museum, Board as well. I mean, we have, I like the fact that we have a resource in our secretaries, my fellow colleagues. And Secretary John Harvey has been a great resource in finding us, pointing us in the right direction of those individuals who will be great veterans for some of our boards. And here's the thing, they just don't serve on veteran-related boards. They also serve on boards of visitors. They bring their expertise to bear on whether it's education or health and human resources or agriculture or natural resources. Veterans are I think a gold mine for us, particularly retired ones who have a lot of time on their hand and want to dedicate it to a particular cause. We welcome them. We welcome their service.
You mentioned the fact that there are resumes constantly on your desk for review. Talk to us about the application process. I know there's an online application process.
That's right. You can go to commonwealth.virginia.gov. That's our website. There, under gubernatorial appointments, you'll see an application. Very simple to complete. It's three. You will request 3 boards to be appointed to. You'll have a reference line there of maybe a place where I may have met you. If I was speaking somewhere, let's say at a Rotary Club, Woody, and I met you, and I would recommend you say, we met Secretary Stoney at the Rotary Club, and you told me about your interest there. So you'll pick 3 boards. I can't promise you that all the 3 of those boards will be on our list as well, but we usually go back to people, Woody, and say, hey, the 3 boards you wanted, very, very competitive. Not going to be able to get you there, but we see your expertise being of some use to us on this X, Y, or Z board. And normally folks say, sure, I'll take that. Or some say, I'll just wait till next year when the seat goes up again. It's a July 1 to July 1, sort of a June 30th deal, 4-year terms. We usually make our appointments throughout the year, rolling throughout the year. Our Board of Visitor appointments, over the last 2 years, we've made a month before the actual expiration of the term. So in the beginning of June, you'll likely see a long list of Board of Visitor appointments for all the higher ed institutions throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. We are very, very particular about that because years past, I've heard, we didn't get our appointments until August or September sometime, and that kind of delays the actions of the board, whether it's taking a retreat and planning out the next year. We kind of go, we kind of provide the names early to each of our colleges and universities.
Now, are some people nominated by a third party?
Yeah, a lot of folks do go online and nominate folks as well. Like I said, you can go on and actually apply for a board or commission, or you can actually go on and nominate an individual. So if a person said, hey, would he be great for the wine board? And I would say, okay, I'll take a look at that nomination. We get members of the General Assembly who do so. We get different associations, special interests who actually do so. It's a fair and open process.
You mentioned the ability to accomplish a lot for the Commonwealth without being a politician. A lot of people don't want a high-profile job. What kind of media scrutiny is there associated with boards and commissions?
Well, when you're in the game of regulation, there always can be some possible some scrutiny. So if you're on the Board of Medicine, or if you're on the Board of Health, or if you're on the Nursing Board, or if you're on the Board of Realtors, there's always a level of scrutiny that may be involved. And we make sure to let them know that ahead of time. Not all boards will be as scrutinized. If you're on the Commonwealth Transportation Board, that is, it's a pretty high-profile role. If you're on the Board of Visitors at UVA or William Mary, expect, some tough decisions in terms of whether or not you're going to raise tuition or if you're going to actually enlarge the athletic program. I mean, those are major decisions that a lot of people in the Commonwealth of Virginia care about. So even though it's not politics, you're not running for office, you're holding an appointment here, and you got to have thick skin. But we believe the people that we've selected are up to the task, and they've shown this.
Let's talk a little bit more in detail about the restoration of civil rights. There's more than voting rights that are restored, are there not?
That's correct. We've made a big emphasis on voting rights because we believe that every person should have access to the franchise. But it also restores the right to serve on a jury, the right to hold elected office, the right to run for public office, but also the right to be a notary public as well. And so those are rights that people receive back. People are always asking about gun rights, gun rights, gun rights. Once you get your right to vote back, once you get all those rights I just spoke about back, you can go to your local clerk of court office and you can actually petition them to get your gun rights back. The gun rights part is handled by the courts. We don't handle that part. However, like I said, 16,000 people have actually received their rights back, and those individuals are free to go to their local offices to receive their gun rights back.
So what's the process? How do I apply? How long does it usually take? And is there a distinction between violent and nonviolent offenders?
Yes. So there's multiple ways to do it. Number one, you can go online, commonwealth.virginia.gov, and check out our website, and there's a part there for restoration rights. You can also give us a call as well at our offices. Additionally, you can also print the application off and mail it. The process takes, I would say, between 60 and 90 days because there's a lot of verification that goes on. There's a different process for more serious offenders. If you have a more serious offense, that will take you waiting for 3 years to be eligible for your rights to be restored. If you have a more nonviolent offense, you can get your right to vote back right away after completing your supervision, whether that's parole or probation or any good time behavior that the court sends down to you.
You mentioned clemency earlier on. Talk to us a little bit more about what that entails.
Yeah, the governor, with voting rights, or the restoration of one's civil and voting rights, we also do the pardons as well. We also handle pardons. The pardon that is most popular is the simple pardon, which is just simple forgiveness by the Commonwealth of Virginia, by the governor. Let me say this: we believe in mercy. We believe in redemption. We believe in second chances. And I think in the past, individuals had to show an extraordinary feat to actually be forgiven, given a simple pardon. We don't believe in that. We believe taking a look at every pardon on a separate basis, and then judging that whether or not the governor should give them a pardon. And actually, we've restored. I think we've done a good job on the civil pardons front, and we've done a couple of pardons as well. I think were spoken about in the news over the Christmas holiday as well. Absolute pardons, so that kind of basically expunge one's record. And so we walk the walk, and we talk the talk, and we walk the walk as well.
Now, we're in the basement of the General Assembly today. The legislative process is ongoing. I'm sure there's some
It's hot and heavy right now.
Absolutely. It's crossover week.
Yep.
And I'm sure you're interested in matters dealing with the New Virginia economy, Go Virginia. Are there any other specific legislative efforts? We talked earlier about the automatic restoration of civil rights.
Yep.
That's always in the hopper.
Yeah, the governor has always been of the belief that folks should, once they've done with their supervision, that they should have the right to vote back. There's nearly 400,000 individuals in the Commonwealth of Virginia who are disenfranchised.
400,000.
400,000 studies show. That's 7% of the voting age population, 20% of the African American population disenfranchised, 25% of African American men disenfranchised. One of the highest rates of disenfranchisement in all of the country. We believe that's a punitive Virginia. And we believe the Commonwealth is a whole lot better than that. We believe that the Commonwealth can be a little bit more compassionate. And I think that's what you've seen, what we've demonstrated with the 16,000 people who have been restored to returning citizen status. The automatic restoration of rights gets out of the Senate normally, but unfortunately dies in the House. And it's a constitutional amendment, so if it dies in it, it doesn't get the light of day, unfortunately. I think if such a referendum came before the people of the Commonwealth, they would overwhelmingly support it. And I think there's polls and studies that show, there was a recent CNU Wasson Center poll that showed that 60% or nearly 60% of the Virginia's residents would approve the restoration of voting rights for those nonviolent offenders. At the end of the day, this is about recidivism. And we reduce recidivism by giving folks the opportunity to be full citizens again. You know, we pride ourselves on having one of the second lowest recidivism rate in all of the country. But imagine how lower we can get if we were able to restore people's rights automatically.
Of course, that would put part of your office out of business.
That's true. And I tell my folks who work in the Restoration of Rights Division of my office that my job is to put you out of business. You know, I don't want them having, I think that people, once they've served their time and paid their dues to society, they should have the right to participate again. That's what it's all about. That's what democracy is all about.
You talked about notarizations being part of your responsibility.
Yes.
I think there's a new technology that people can use through an app.
Yeah, e-notary is something that was passed in the last administration. And I think here's the thing, a lot of people aren't aware of it, that there's
Right.
an online way of actually notarization. And right now we've actually showcased a business Notarize that actually will get you an app that you can actually interface with a notary through your phone, which is very, very easy. Sometimes if you're, whether in the real estate world or in the legal world, you need a notary right away. And this Notarize app that you can actually download on your iPhone or your smartphone in general will give you that the opportunity to interface with a notary right away. Pretty cool, I'll admit. And this speaks to the new Virginia economy right there.
Well, we're glad you had the opportunity to spend time with us today. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching this special edition of Cable Reports, brought to you by the Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association. Until next time, I'm Woody Evans.